Welcome to the Concern Podcast, where we unpack political, social, economic, and cultural stories shaping our world. I'm Emmanuel Taban. Now, today, the 8th of October 2025, the special court constituted to carry on the trial of the first Vice President of the Republic of South Sudan and his co-accused resumes at Freedom Hall for its 8th session to continue with the prosecution of the first Vice President and his colleagues at Freedom Hall. Now, on this video, I want to give you a summary of what actually happened on the previous meeting on the 7th session that was conducted on Monday, the 6th of October 2025. Now, I'm just going to give you a little summary and what this could mean to mostly the accused and the defense team. Now, what happened mainly on the 6th of October, on Monday, when the court reconvened at Freedom Hall, is that the courts gave the prosecution team the opportunity to continue with its presentation of evidences or documents, which started in the previous session on the 5th and the 6th. Now, on the 7th session, when the court reconvenes at 9 a.m., so what happened is that the prosecution team continued with presenting its documents. And the document that was presented, they actually presented 5 documents on Monday, the 6th of October. The first document that was presented by the prosecution team was an autopsy report of the Major General who died during the Nasser incident, that is Major Dak. So an autopsy report is mainly a report that contains an information, a detailed information carried out during post-mortem that tells in details how the person died, in what manner he died or he was killed. So that was an autopsy report that was presented by the prosecution team, and the autopsy report actually contained a stamp from the Ministry of Health, because an autopsy report is of course always carried out by a medical expert. So it was carried out by the Ministry of Ministry of Health, and it has a stamp from the Ministry of Finance. They presented the autopsy report, that is the prosecution team. They also presented a death certificate of the Major General, Major Dak, also containing the stamp of the Ministry of Health. And the prosecution team also went ahead to present death certificates of over 250 other South Sudan People's Defense Forces military officers with all the stamps from the Minister of Health. So that is the third document that was presented by the prosecution team. And the fourth document that was presented on Monday was what we call the Military Administrative Report. So the Military Administrative Report that was presented actually contained over 10 attachments, which contains a letter that indicates that some of the generals who actually led the incident in Nasir, who were part of the White Army militia group, are actually members of the SPLM-IO. So that military administrative report contained that document and other more attachments to it. So it contained the major document that was in that military administrative report is one that give a clear evidence that some of the generals who actually carried out in the names of the White Army, they are members of the SPLM-IO. So that was the fourth document that was presented by the prosecution team to the courts or to the judges. And the fifth one that was presented by the prosecution team was what we call the digital forensic report. So the digital forensic report mainly contains information extracted from digital equipments, maybe from the accused, belonging to the accused persons, could be phones or computers or laptops and all the sorts of stuff. So the digital forensic report that was presented by the prosecution team was one that actually contains detailed information analyzed by experts from South Africa. That was the report that was presented to the courts. It contains all kind of communications and coordinations in audio form and so forth that clearly convinces people that the accused were part of coordinating the incident that happened in Nasri, and that report was actually made by forensic expert from South Africa. It was done outside of the country. It wasn't done within South Sudan, but in South Africa. So in all the 5 documents that were presented by the prosecution team to the courts admitted the first 4 documents. That is 1, the autopsy report of Major General Major Dak, the death certificate of Major General Major Dak, the death certificate of over 250 other other SSPDF military officers, and then the military administrative report that was presented. These are the 4 reports that were accepted or that were admitted by the courts. But then the 5th document, which is the digital forensic report, which was actually established outside of the country from South Africa, due to a challenge from the prosecution team, from the defense team, saying that that document lacks legal procedures, the way of attaining it lacks some legal procedures. The court did not admit that report. It rejected it, and it adhered to the request of the defense team to actually withhold that document. So that was the document that the prosecution team in the first said that they have evidence that contain WhatsApp messages and information that actually tells that the accused were part of coordinating the incident that happened in Nasser. So that was the document that was actually not admitted by the courts. That was the only document that was not, but the rest of the documents, the 4 other documents that were presented on the 7th session of the courts were admitted. So this means that the prosecution team have more evidence that can actually make the courts maybe determine the ruling of the established court, because it is from those documents that or those reports that the courts will go and dig into the reports provided and see if all the evidence presented in those reports, if they can be used to provide a verdict on the very final day of these established courts. So that is mainly what was presented in on the 7th session of the special court when it reconvened at Freedom Hall at 9 a.m. in the morning. But also in the start of the session, the defense team had requested the court to have a special meeting with the accused, citing that some of the accused need to meet their personal doctors, and that was actually granted as well. So the court admitted that request that was requested by the defense team to meet with the accused after the session. The court admits or provided the meeting to be after the session. So after the session, the accused were actually given the chance to meet their doctors and also meet their legal team. So they had probably exchange of words and they were checked about their medical conditions, if they are good. Yeah, that was mainly what happened on the 7th session at the Freedom Hall. So today, Wednesday, the 8th of October 2025, the courts will reconvene again at Freedom Hall for its 8th session. So probably what's going to happen today is that we might continue. If those were all the documents that the defense, the prosecution team has in their custody, then we would probably see some kind of cross challenge or cross examination from the defense team, trying to counter all these evidences and try to also present their case, maybe by presenting their witnesses and providing more information and proofs that actually the accused were not part of the incident that happened in Nasir earlier this year in March. So if the prosecution team is done with presenting their case and their evidence and their reports and documents, if that is the end of the reports that they have in their custody that they have established, if that is the end of the evidence that they have established, so what is likely going to happen on today's session, which is going to reconvene, which is going to happen at Freedom Hall, is that we might see the defense team also given a chance to present their case, presenting their case and their evidences. And if you are told they do have documents as well, this is going to be the time that the defense team is going to be given the chance to also present their evidences, and their evidences or their case can as well be challenged by the prosecution team. So this is what will likely happen today as the court resumes at Freedom Hall. And thank you so much. I'm Emmanuel Taban. If this is your first time watching a video on this channel, please subscribe, hit on the notification button so you can be notified of every video that we upload. After this, share, comment, and yes, if you're passionate about politics, if you're passionate about what's happening in South Sudan, East Africa, and the African continent, this is the right channel for you. Until next time, I remain Emmanuel Taban, and this is the Concern Podcast.